Hey, Ashley here, one of your Phonak heroes, and today I'm here to talk about a topic that is not easy for anyone, regardless of hearing loss or not, and that is dating. That's been a particularly challenging arena for me. I think, some of my biggest worries have always been like fear of rejection, sort of those like quote unquote romantic moments being ruined. And, when do you properly bring that up to somebody that you have a hearing loss? And, I've had some experiences that, when I look back on them, they were, very valuable teaching experiences, but I think that they definitely have kept me from pursuing the dating field a little bit more. I went on a date with this one guy, and later on he texted me asking if I had a lisp, aka deaf accent, and that just was the first time I'd ever had somebody kind of bring it up like that, and so it was just a different way of acknowledging that there was, again, something different about me. And he had no negative reaction to me telling him the truth, but I just kind of became more self-conscious or more aware of that. And another time, not to be all gory with the details here, but being intimate with somebody and their hands come up to your ears and your ears ring, and it's not comfortable for anybody. I'm like panicking before it even happens, because now I have to kind of like deviate and do this whole like awkward thing, because I know if anything gets close to my hearing aid, it's gonna ring, and then feeling like I have to explain that to somebody when it does ring, and like obviously they've heard it, and so they're just some uncomfortable situations when it comes to dating or being intimate with somebody. And I think that, one of my, biggest things again is still like figuring out how to properly bring that up, when you're first starting to date, go out, hook up with somebody, is that something that right away, or do you wait for like a situation to happen? And I think a lot of it is just that, that fear of rejection, because, somebody I have told just never brought it up again. And then somebody I did tell, posed all these questions that was really, like wanting to know more, and never, like judged me for it. And so I think I struggle with knowing, is it the fact that people just don't know what to do in that situation, and like what questions to ask, or am I, is it actually, that they are rejecting this idea because it's different than what they know. And I think that my hope as a hero is to be able to use this as sort of a talking point, because no matter who you're talking to, friend, family, date, it always comes up about what you do. And I think that I'm hoping that I can use this platform as a way to say, oh, I work with Hearing Like Me, and use that as sort of like a catalyst for explaining more about who I am, when it comes to meeting romantic partners. And it's not a very comfortable space for me. I've always been very like guarded, very shielded, and vulnerability is not a thing. And I think again I attribute that in large part to my hearing loss. And so as I move forward in hopefully pursuing a romantic relationship, that I can be more upfront about it without getting so in my head about like certain moments being perceived one way, or losing its romantic value, and just kind of be more authentic with it. Easier said than done, but dating is not easy for anybody, so I have to keep in mind that it's difficult for us, just as much as it's difficult for anybody. So if anybody has any advice or ideas or suggestions of how to tackle the space as a deaf or hard of hearing individual when it comes to finding a romantic partner, I am all ears, pun intended. And please leave a comment below. Bye.